Hi, this is Susan Carlson, and welcome to my studio. You know, I teach quite a few classes in the course of a year, and I have many students. And one of the biggest questions I get as they're preparing for classes is, what fabric do I bring? And you know, my answer is, it really depends on your subject matter. So one of the beauties that I've found about fabric collage is that it can be almost any subject matter. And you can just check out my blog posts and you'll see, especially some of the student work. But for the sake of this shorter video, I have chosen 3 subjects of my own making. And these are all patterns that are available. The goldfish, Carpe Carpum, and the sea turtle are both available as PDFs off my website. Serendipity Sun, the sun face right here, that is available in my book, Serendipity Quilts. So, with these in mind, if I were to look at this and say, okay, I want to do a fish, and this particular design has a very round little body and a very flowy tail. And I can make that tail even more flowy than it is already. So that's an option for me, but there's a flowiness there. So when I select fabric, I'm going to look for something that has a flow to the fabric, to the design, to the print that's in the fabric, which is one of the reasons why I like using printed fabrics. Now I made a few, just a very limited selection here. And these are all fabrics that have some sort of quality to them that for me says fish. Now it's not, I was in kind of a green sort of mood today, so these are all green sort of fabrics. Now when I say flowy, people sometimes think maybe a line, right? Like a line that moves. This fabric, as beautiful as it is not something that I would find helpful for this fish. Like if I were to try to fit this in for the tail, it's got, you know, kind of a line, a movement to it, but it's not flowy. And that's what I'm looking for. So I wouldn't use this for this fish. But now look at this one. This has their leaves in kind of a linear sort of way, but you see there is a flow to those leaves. So I could maybe use this for that fish. This would be one of the ones that I would, you know, say, well, let's bring it to class. Let's see what happens. Or maybe you're in a store and you're thinking, oh, I want to buy some fabric for this fish that I want to do. This one here, this is Peacock Feathers, but look at that nice flow that those have. You know, that's really nice. I could cut that feather out and it could be a really nice part of that tail. That's the kind of flow that I'm talking about looking at. These also have a flow to it. This is seaweed, but it's got a flow. This batik, if you open that up, it does have, you know, a little bit of a flow happening. It also has a roundness to it. So this might work in a tail. It might also work for part of a round little belly of a fish. So these are the type of things I'm looking for in making that, in narrowing down a selection. There's so many great fabrics out there. You just have to narrow it down a little bit. This one has some flowiness to it. It also has round curves. You know, this, I mean, right there, it almost looks like a little bit of a face already. This is smaller, a smaller print. But again, it has movement to it. And so a fish has movement, it has a roundness, and that's what I'm going to look for in the fabrics that are going to be your best bets. Maybe it's not the only fabrics you'll use, and you might have some surprises there, but these are your best bets we're talking about. This is a batik, and a couple of these others are batiks. What I like about batiks is that they can work well one way, one side, but you flip them over and then they work in the reverse. So it's almost like you get double movement out of them. Now that's the type of thing for a fish. I've got a couple other designs here. So let's say this turtle. For me, the turtle, you know, has some roundness. I probably want to make the shell look like it's curved a little bit and give it some little highlights and shadows. It's also maybe a little more decorative. It has a geometric sort of quality to it, so maybe I would look for fabrics that have maybe more of a geometric-y sort of pattern in them. This I could have it maybe a little more contrasting, let's say, because this is has decorative quality to it. Now this has a design in the fabric as well, a print in the fabric, but it is a little darker. It blends a little more than that does. This one here has a really nice variety, kind of a gradation of color. You can see how these greens, look, if I put that green against that, this will really start working in giving me some of the values that I might like. This is a little more geometric. It has some color to it. These are too. These are all things that are good bets in what would work in this turtle, you know, if I want to have it in those colors. Of course, you could pick a whole different color scheme, but still similar sorts of prints in the fabric that could work for you. And then the sun, that sun, keeping with the greens still, I found a couple ideas here that I kind of like. This one, this type of fabric I find very versatile in that it has, you know, it's got 4 different colors in it, and some of these blend really nice. Like I can see how, you know, how I can blend from blue to green really nicely in there. It has little touches of yellow. And so that I could kind of have as a base and work off of that. This batik, oh, the other thing I think of, with the sun, it's got a roundness to it. So I want to have some sort of roundness. I want to make sure that I've got some good lights and some good darks, because I want to define the nose, the cheeks from the, you know, the other parts of the face. So I need some contrast in there, and probably with values or color. This one here, this batik, this has some nice, you know, the leaves have a roundness to them. Even the way some of these leaves connect one to the next, it gives me a roundness. And I could use that, because the same in the fish tail, you know, this has, you know, the curves could, as it goes over the cheek, it could be almost like a flow, you could think of in a way. And then there's a little bit of a geometric-y thing that would work. So some of those fabrics I talked about with the other ones could also work with this too. So it's not like a real, you know, black and white sort of line about what works with only this. There's a lot of overlap. So, you know, with that, you can see how these fabrics, this one here now has, you know, some curves and a little flow going with it too. That would be a nice highlight to go with these that are here. And then if I kind of steal from some of the turtle here now, and you know, even here with the fish, some of those fabrics that I thought would go nice with those, if I start combining these, you can see how one fabric starts blending with the next, and these all have a roundness to them, and it would all kind of carry through that roundness that I want overall in that the face for the sun. So it all comes down to your subject matter. And when you are thinking about what fabrics to bring, take a look at what your image is. Does it have a roundness to it? Do you want fabrics that speak round to you, or is there an angularity or some sort of geometric sort of look to it? Or maybe there's a flowiness to it. Maybe there's some curves that you are going to want to bring out in that subject, and use those guidelines for your fabric selection.